Hello, everyone, and it's Francis Sealey from GlobalNet 21. And I'd like to welcome you again to one of our regular webinars. And you know, we do these, or we try to do these every week, or at least once a week, where we try to interview people who are doing interesting things or who are trying to make a difference in their communities and globally as well. And I've got Hannah Dyson here with me, who's going to help me with the interviewing. And today we're going to interview Amanda Bronkhorst. Now, Amanda is a person who has sort of developed a mission. She's got really motivated on something. You know, the big issue of our day for all of us is climate change. And it is such a serious issue that it's made many of us think, well, what can we do to make a difference? Well, Amanda has found an answer for herself, and we're going to talk to her about that. So, Amanda, thank you for joining us, and really, really appreciate you being with us today. And I just wondered if we could start by asking you if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself and something about your background.
Yeah, okay. Well, my background is actually in TV commercials. I was a producer in TV commercials for almost 20 years, till 3 years ago when I had my daughter, and we decided to put my career on hold just because my other half's a location manager, and the two of us working such long hours, we decided that she needed a parent around. So I decided to go on extended maternity leave with the intention of going back to work when she went to school. And then just one tree came along. So this is my current project, and we'll see what happens in a year.
Okay, so Hannah, if you'd like to come on as well and maybe join in at this point.
Hi, Amanda. Yeah, I'd like to know, was it Greta Thunberg speaking at the House of Commons that inspired you to do something individually to help the climate?
Yeah, basically it was around April this year when Greta Thunberg was speaking. And her speech was written in the Guardian, and I read that quote from hers that by 2030, in 10 years' time, we're going to reach this point and set off these tipping points that we're not going to be able to stop, and human civilization is not going to be the same as we know it. It exist. And then it was that, and also the David Attenborough documentary that was on at the same time. And I literally saw those two things, and I always thought climate change was in the future. Like, we all kind of knew it sort of existed. We were doing our little bits, but then suddenly, when it's like it's here, it's now, we've only got this small window of time to do something about it. And I sort of looked at my daughter, and she was 2 at the time. I just thought, well, in 10 years' time, she's only going to be 12. What's it going to be like when she's 40 or 50? Or is she going to able to have children of her own? Or is she not going to be able to? And then I just sort of started to panic. I was like, I'm recycling everything I can, and I don't know if that's really actually ending up where it's supposed to. And the governments feel like they're saying something, kind of dragging their heels. And I'm eating less meat, but I feel like I need to do something. And that's kind of how it all began.
And obviously you have done something. It's interesting to listen to, actually, to find a TV producer who's used to being behind the camera, suddenly in front of the camera. I know. I know, it's very, very unusual, but there you go. But I mean, the Greta Thunberg thing, did it really surprise you how it took off and that so many young people became involved, and then they radicalized their parents?
Yeah, it's incredible that it's coming from that way. And I mean, I was seeing Greta Thunberg, just seeing the snippets of her speech at the UN summit this week. I mean, it's absolutely heartbreaking how much weight is on the shoulders of that 16-year-old girl. I mean, we sort of forget that she is just a young child, like not child, but a young girl, and she's having this massive audience. But it's incredible and I think we need the children because it's their generation that this is really affecting. And I think for me, when I was younger, so we knew it was in the future, but it's when I had Senna and when this happened that you hear, we've got to do this for our children, but that doesn't really connect with you, I don't think, until you're actually a parent and you have a child, and it will affect that person that you've made, that you've brought into the world. And so that's when it really hit home. But that's because of literally that one speech she gave at the same timing as David Attenborough's program, which said, if we do this, we've got to do it, but with determination and urgency. But there is still hope.
Hannah?
Amanda, so obviously after hearing Greta Thunberg speak and you felt inspired, how did you go about setting up the One Tree initiative? How did it enter your mind? What was your thought process?
Well, I just felt like I wanted to do something, so I went online trying to donate, and I discovered how cheap it was to plant a tree. It was only £1. I just thought, well, hang on, I'll put £1 in. And my mind just sort of started going. I was Googling, like, how many businesses are there? How many children, how many people are there in the UK? I was like, well, there's 66 million people in the UK. If we all planted a tree, £1 across all of us, that would be 66 million trees. And then I was like, well, how many kids are there in secondary school education? There's 10 million. If every parent put £1 in for each of their children, that's 10 million trees. So my mind just kept going, and like, what about estate agents? If they put £1 in for every sale they did, say they did 20 sales a year, that's 20 trees for that estate agent. So it's not much, but multiply that by all the estate agents, or 10 pence on a haircut, or a penny on an Uber ride. Could you imagine how many trees that would plant? Anyway, so I was just lying in bed and going, now I've discovered this. It's so cheap. I can't just keep it to myself and then see all these like news articles coming in about how our world is being destroyed by us, and not give parents and grandparents and teenagers a way that we can actually be the solution ourselves, rather than having to wait for the governments or the big companies. Actually, a way that we can kind of unite and just start doing it. What are we waiting for? Let's just do it.
So in a way, it was a moment of inspiration. It was a eureka moment. I mean, how long did it take you to get from being concerned because you listened or read or heard Greta's speech to actually saying, I'm going to actually do something, not just go on protest, but I'm going to do something? Did it happen suddenly, or did you start thinking slowly that you were going to make a difference this way?
It was more suddenly, and my other half hated me from the first couple of weeks. What are you doing? Like, you've just got to slow down. And I sort of wanted to do it, and then I was a bit nervous. I was like, what? I was going to go back to producing, and this is what I was going to be doing and setting this up. I don't know if this is something that's me for the future, or what I'm going to do. And I spoke to a friend, and she said, give it a go, just do it. So I did. I thought, what harm? I don't know if you heard that story about the boy and the starfish that walking along the beach, and there's loads of starfish swept up on the beach, and this old chap comes along and sees this boy throwing a starfish into the sea, and the older man says, what are you doing? There's hundreds of thousands of starfish on the sea. You're never going to be able to do anything. You're never going to be able to make a difference. And the boy says, flings a starfish into the sea. He says, well, I made a difference to that one. So I just thought, why not? If I can plant 100 trees, if I plant 1,000 trees, then it'll be worth it, even if it ends there. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And that was it. And then I set it up, and I was so in a hurry that even the website's not finished. We're still missing two of the places of planting. I still haven't had a chance to write the content for.
Well, you certainly gave it a go. And Hannah, what do you think?
And how did you find all the business partners? I understand you have 6 business partners. How did you find the business partners, and how do they make a difference to the initiative, One Tree initiative?
So the first one was a friend, thankfully. And he was my first one that I set up, and then bit by bit, through just the word starting to get out, and they've all come on board doing things in a different way. So one does it sort of as a regular monthly donation because they just want to be doing it and don't want to have to think about it. Others do it sort of as they have a contract, or as they sell something. They add up their best pot, and then they plant a bunch of trees. There's signal energy assessors. They do it as well. They gather up the trees per month and then plant that. Yes, the first one was a structural engineering company, and they're all from different walks of life. There's an Airbnb. Every time she has a booking, she plants a tree. So it literally is a model that can change. It can adapt to anything. It could be for like an insurance company. You know, if they go, well, I'm going to put 20 pence or a pound onto every contract. Or a physiotherapy, I've got equine physiotherapy in there. They say to the clients, would you like to donate? And you can, like, we're putting this on the bottom of our invoice, but you can cross it off if you want. And it's just a way of people, I think we've kind of got to this point where we've got to stop focusing on consumerism and start moving over to protection of the planet. And by doing that, we all still want to live our lives. We need to drive our cars to get to our family that live far away. But if we can start just integrating, giving back to the environment in everything we do, it's going to make a massive difference. And it's such a, if it can be a minor amount that we can just keep ticking over, then would actually really make such a big difference.
So, I mean, did you give it a lot of thought in the sense did you say, what's the biggest impact I could have? Should I go in the middle of the road and sit down and stop these cars driving up and down? Or did you think, well, trees contribute tremendous amounts, or it absorbs a tremendous amount of carbon dioxide, and this is a way I can really get in and do something?
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah. There wasn't the biggest amount of thought. It was more that this idea just came along because I kind of feel like positive action. There's a lot of awareness coming out there, and there's a lot of sort of people going further than I would feel comfortable with. And I just felt it's something. I think it was more the panic of forced energy. I want to try and remove that carbon dioxide that I'm putting out. And then thankfully about 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, came out that article from The Guardian. I think The Guardian started it, but it was the Crowther Lab that did the study about, it was the Crowther Lab, that 3 trillion trees are needed. And that will, you know, obviously we've got to stop the fossil fuels and the big companies as well. It's not just about planting trees, but the trillion trees is what's going to put us out. And I think the Crowther Lab did a study on whether there's enough land to plant those trees, and there is. So we just got to get doing. So it really confirmed, actually, this is a good idea. This is worthwhile. And every time I have we've got this little wall on our, when you go to plant a tree, and you can write a little message as you plant a tree. And it's all those little inspiration little comments that everyone puts up there that really inspire me to carry on. Because, you know, we all have good days and bad days, and days you think, well, what am I doing? You know, this is all such a big project. And then you have these little things that you say, keep going, this is brilliant. Like, thank you for enabling me to do something. And so it's really inspiring.
Yeah, no, we all have those days when we think, you know, why are we doing this? What are we doing? But you don't, do you, Hannah? You tell us.
What's that? Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Francis.
I said, you don't have those days where you say, what am I doing?
Never, absolutely never. And it just shows what you can do as an individual, you know, from one idea to helping across the country to the tropics. But you're inspiring people to help in Madagascar, Haiti, Mozambique. I think you're reaching out to those communities. But also in this country, we can also do things. So we could do things internationally and in the UK as well.
Yeah, I think we kind of, at the moment where we are, you know, Brexit is really dividing us, I think. You know, the Remainers and the Leavers. And it's something like this that can actually, you know, bring us together. And like one of the things we're doing, about to launch, or just in the middle of sort of sending some packs out to schools at the moment, is a nationwide non-uniform day, so that we can, you know, help, not that we can help educate kids, because actually that's not, I'm not a soccer teacher or anything like that, but there's some topics in there that they can study, like why the lemurs are becoming extinct in Madagascar, or women empowerment in Kenya, because it's women that do most of the farming. And we're hoping to up and down the country start uniting schools by doing this on a uniform day, so that the kids can come in with their pound and they can plant the tree, and then they can see how their one little thing they're doing can make an impact, and within the school, they all then plant a forest for that whole school. And then that school plants a forest, but then amongst the whole region, amongst the whole, you know, nation up and down in the country, that they all unite and look, this one little pound that one child can collectively make a real impact. And also
So,
bring you back. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think people, when they listen to you, will see what you're doing, and they'll be really, really, you know, quite full of admiration for that. But what many people will want to know, especially if they want to make a difference themselves, is how did you do it? I mean, how did you find those partners? How did you make contact with those schools? What was the process? Because, you know, nothing happens by magic. You've got to do a lot of work. You've got to network, but you've got to net the work, or work the net. So how did you do that? What was the process for that?
Well, in terms of the reforestation partners, I did lots and lots of research online, finding just research. And then I have a lot of criteria that I really want to stick to in terms of planting native species, having a minimum survival rate of 80% as a minimum. For me, it's all about planting and maintaining the tree. It's not about sort of just scattering seeds and hope. And yes, there is a sense of rewilding that happens, but it's about maintaining the trees to survival, and that's one of the key things. It's also about the process they take, and how they monitor the planting of the trees, and that actually my tree is actually being planted. And so I found some really well established and respected reforestation partners within really big existing infrastructure. So that's how I started with them. And in terms of the schools, that's come down to two amazing women that I've met on this journey. One is Emma Carnell, who's running a Facebook page called Saving the Earth One Tip at a Time, and she's got 9,000 people on there. And she put a post out there saying, you know, are there any teachers or governors on this website that can get in contact? We've got a list of 100 schools on there. And a lovely girl called Ellie White down in Brighton, who is part of the Parents for the Future organisation, managed to get in contact with her, and she has been an overwhelming help and has helped me with putting the schools packs together and starting to get it out there. We're literally just getting it out there now. We've got a bunch of schools already signed up. We have, as I say, like a list of 100 schools that are initially interested, and we're just waiting to, we've now just sent out the packs literally the last couple of days. It's hot off the press. But we need everybody, so teachers, parents, anyone who thinks my school would love this, but, you know, to get in contact with us and we can share it out, because there is no, all the money, all the pennies go on planting trees, so there is no marketing budget, there is no administration costs.
So I mean, tell me, yeah, I mean, you're a spontaneous person. So did you sort of work in that way? I mean, did you have a plan, a business plan, or did you just go in and sort of do it and see what came out of it?
Pretty much. So my plan was, and my friend keeps saying you should do a business model, but I'm not. I'm really good with images and I'm good with budgets. That's my background from producing, but business model or having an interview or a presentation, never done. So I just sort of thought, well, and I spoke to a company called Inspire to Enterprise, and they give you, for community interest companies, they're setting up social enterprises that give back to the community. And he said, why don't you? And it was just kind of where I was thinking is, do something on Facebook and see if you get a bit of response, and that can be your market research. And if you get a good response, keep going. And I was just like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll just do it around my local little group on Facebook, and we planted 72 trees. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll put it a little bit wider. And that's how it happened. And 4 months down, literally since the concept happened, you know, I've designed a website, we've got enough funds to plant over 4,500 trees. We've got 6 business partners, with a lot of partners in the wings but haven't yet planted trees yet, but they're calling up to partner up with us. We've got 2 schools that have done fundraisers, and we've got these other schools that are going to hopefully do the non-uniform day. And and then we're also hoping that we've obviously got this amount of money that we've planted. got like £3,600 as of just before this interview, which plants about 4,500 trees. So we're planting more than one tree per pound, but that's not such a catchy slogan. And then with the extra profits, that will go back into planting more trees. So I'm hoping when we hit £4,000 raised, we'll have enough to bumper up the amount of trees. And then any bits left over, I'd really like to put towards some anti-deforestation projects, because it is, you know, it's protect, as Greta Thunberg says, it's protection and nurture and planting and funding. So that's
okay. No, that sounds great. So Hannah.
And I'd like to know also, with regard to the children, do you believe in the Fridays for Future movement, and do you think it's fantastic that children are going out to protest on Friday? Do you think that's a good way to show their support for climate change?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I mean, it's fantastic. And it's also, really do find it heartbreaking that it's the children that have to kind of wake up the adults. You know, I really do. When they say, you know, you see Greta speaking again in the UN today saying, how dare you, you've taken away my future, I should be in school. And that's so heartbreaking. And it's, I mean, it's wonderful to see these kids that have pulled the parents and said, come on, mum. And seeing the parents of it, I went to the climate strike on Friday in London, and I've never been on a protest before. I went to the Time Is Now one earlier in the summer, but before that, I've never been on a protest or anything like that. And you sort of think it's going to be a load of hippies and strange, you know, people that are really like rebels. And actually, it was just grandparents and children and everyday people, and saying that, okay, you've got to start listening to us. And I mean, it is wonderful that children are really getting involved. And part of me feels a bit sorry for the head teachers. Which is why I guess there's non-uniform day is another thing that I thought, is that the way that schools can kind of get together and do a little bit of a peaceful protest and say, look, we all feel that this is important, and it's a way of them doing it without like being in that conundrum of whether to let kids miss school or not. But you know, it can unite everybody.
Why do you think it's taken young people to inspire action now? People are starting to take action very, very slowly, organising the everything. Why do you think it's young people and children that have inspired people now, like Greta?
Well, I think maybe it's because it's their future. And I think, I mean, for me, the key thing is that realisation that we are literally on that tipping point. And there's tipping points that are happening. I mean, we talk about this happening in our 10-year deadline, but tipping points are already happening. You see the fires in the Amazon, the fires in Germany, the icebergs melting at such a faster rate. Well, there's quite a few things that have happened over the summer that are quite drastic. And it's, you know, it's their future. And it's just that suddenly, I don't know whether it's the fact that both Greta and David have sort of read all the sort of scientific facts and like not diluted it, taken the important message from it, and I think that's what I wanted on my website, because I know I go onto like charities websites and things, and I'm halfway down and I've already switched off. I wanted it to be really clear and really simple as a message, and I think that's what's happened, is that's been taken out, come out recently, and it's woken us all up. But the kids are driving it because they're just saying, hey, wake up, adults, let's, you know, you'll see what are you doing to our futures.
Can I ask you something about what you're actually driving? And, you know, when people look at your site and they see just one tree, and when we talked about it, people might have thought you're trying to get people to plant a tree or 1 million trees in their back garden. But that's not what you're doing, is it? You're actually working with communities that are very much in poverty and that are threatened. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Because, I mean, that's the essential element of your particular enterprise, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's not about, well, this is for kind of people that can't plant trees in the back garden. You know, sort of, you know, it'd be wonderful if we all had big back gardens and we could do that, and we were good at gardening. I'm certainly not. My mum would kill me because she used to be a garden designer, but I'm really not very green fingered. And it's about sort of being able to let everybody plant the trees that we want to do and do something for the environment. And what we do is the reason I've chosen these countries, which is Madagascar, Mozambique, Indonesia, Kenya, Haiti and Nepal to start with, is that we are able to employ, train and educate these people in these impoverished villages, and we're literally lifting them out of poverty, out of extreme poverty, by employing them to plant these trees, and to take away but help to take away the reliance on sort of just not destroying, but cutting down trees and their surroundings and their environment to burn charcoal to sell money on the side of the road, or some unsustainable agriculture, like slash and burn agriculture, where they destroy the land, they cut down the trees, they farm it, then the soil fertility dies, they move on, they cut down more trees, and it's this sort of negative cycle. In this way, we're giving them sustainable income so that they can support their families, and then they can use there's a part of what we're planting is for agroforestry, which is farming within the forest and stuff. So we're lifting people and villages out of poverty.
Okay, well, we're getting close to the end now. So maybe Hannah, if we ask our last 2 or 3 questions, Hannah, over to you for your question.
I have so many, but are you going to add any business partners to help you with your with this initiative, like car companies? That was what I was thinking before.
Yeah, I'm thinking, all are welcome. Literally, I really would love everybody to get on board. And literally, how I'm going to manage the paperwork, I don't know. But I would love everybody to get on board, because there's 5.7 million businesses in the UK and the private sector. You just think, what a difference we could make. And it could be literally anything. It can work across any business model. So any support. I would love to get a big brand on board, if I'm being really honest, because I think that would really boost the awareness. That would be one of my major things that I would hope to do. But it can be either to restaurants, have a pound at the bottom of your bill that you could just cross off, So, but I'm not a businesswoman in my training, so any ideas anyone has, or contacts, or spreading stuff on social media on my behalf would be incredible. That's the help that I really need.
Well, it sounds to me that you're doing pretty good so far. So, that's really great. But not everyone could start a business. Not everyone can do what you've done. So if someone was really like you, concerned, and they wanted to do something, what would be the advice you'd give to them?
Well, I think there's different aspects to answer that question, and just to say, not everyone can. I'm in a very fortunate situation that my husband is able to carry things whilst I can do this venture. Not everyone's in that situation. So obviously, planting trees from just one tree and giving back would be fantastic. Beyond that, I think if we all make little changes, like sometimes it can seem really overwhelming, this whole tackling this, but sort of things like eating less meat, using less single-use plastic, all those little tiny things that actually, like when you fly, plant some trees to offset your flight. There's lots of carbon calculators out there that you can work out how much your carbon is for that flight. Obviously, fly less, which is a better option. And then, we're very happy to plant those trees for you. But it's just those little things, little changes you make. So we've gone from, instead of plastic shower gel, we now use soap. It's just kind of going back. There's so many tiny little changes that you can do that can really drive that a little bit less, that actually will collectively make a really big impact.
Okay, do you have a last question, Hannah?
I'd like to know what's your future plans for protests, and your future plans.
Future plans for Just One Tree. I've got a couple actually. I would love it to, as I said, a brand and some big corporations on board. That'd be really good for the profile. I'd like to get schools doing something yearly, so they can to kind of get it into the kids that it's a constant giving back. It's not just a one-off act. It's like you and you, this is what we do. I would like to expand where we're planting to other places around the country. I'd love to do the Amazon, but I really want to be a reforestation partner correctly, which is why, although it'd be great publicity, I'm not doing that yet. I would love to do some planting here in the UK, and I'd love to get like volunteers, like volunteer days here where people can come along and plant in the UK. And I want to get, oh my God, this is a really long answer, but like, you know, people sending gifts, or I'd like to do birthday cards. Instead of paying £3 for a birthday card that comes with paper and a plastic, you know, we'll plant 3 trees and here's an e-card instead. So there's lots of things, there's lots of things to know.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got a pretty wild imagination, which is why you know what you need.
Yeah.
For it. So if people wanted to find out more about what you do, if they want to get involved, if they wanted to be one of your volunteers that you're thinking about, for example, or do anything, how would they do that? How would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so just through the website, there's an email address at the bottom, hello@justonetree.com, .life, hello@justonetree.com. But also I'm going to, one of the things I want to put up on the website is like a little volunteer button for people to come and volunteer with me. At the moment, it'd be more sort of any sort of, you know, sort of technical help and marketing help that they're happy to volunteer their time for, rather than actually tree planting, until I have somewhere that we can plant the trees, but will actually, someone will be there to maintain them, like groundskeeper people that will be there to actually maintain them after the planting day.
Okay, well, that's great. I mean, we've come to the end of our time now. So thank you for taking part, and thank you, Hannah, for joining me in the interview. It's great to have someone to help. Thank you, Amanda. I mean, that's been really interesting. And it does show people that if you really want to do something, you don't have to sit back in despair. You can do something, and doing something means having hope as well as achieving something. And that's really, really important. So thank you very much for doing this with us, Amanda. It's been a really interesting and inspiring webinar. And, you know, I hope you have a lot of success in the future in achieving your ambition, which is not just for you, but it's for the planet as well. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, and we'll end this webinar now. And thank you all for joining.